You're walking alone on a deserted road, the darkness swallowing you whole, when suddenly you hear the rustling of leaves. You turn to see a figure emerging from the shadows, their eyes fixed on you with an unnerving intensity. This is the terrifying reality that one person faced in Lake County, where a suspected serial killer was charged in a cold case homicide investigation. You find yourself standing at the edge of a dense forest, the trees towering above you like sentinels. The air is heavy with the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves. A faint mist hangs low to the ground, casting an eerie gloom over the landscape. This is where it all began, where the threads of a sinister plot started to unravel. The year was 1995, and a young woman named Sarah had gone missing. Her family and friends launched a desperate search, scouring the woods and neighboring towns, but there was no sign of her. As the days turned into weeks, hope began to fade, and the community was left with a haunting question: what had happened to Sarah? You're walking through the forest, the rustling of leaves and snapping of twigs beneath your feet echoing through the silence. The air is thick with tension, and you can't shake the feeling that you're being watched. Suddenly, you stumble upon a clearing, and in the center of it, you see a sight that makes your blood run cold. A body, partially buried in the earth, with eyes that seem to stare into your very soul. This was the gruesome discovery that would change the course of the investigation, a discovery that would lead detectives down a dark and twisted path. As they began to process the scene, they realized that this was no ordinary crime, but a calculated and brutal act of violence. You're sitting in a dimly lit room, surrounded by detectives and forensic experts, all working tirelessly to unravel the mystery of the murdered woman. The air is thick with the smell of coffee and stale air, and the only sound is the soft hum of computers and the rustling of papers. As they begin to analyze the evidence, they realize that this case is more complex than they initially thought. The victim had no known enemies, and the only lead was a suspicious stranger seen in the area around the time of her disappearance. But as they dug deeper, they uncovered a web of secrets and lies that would lead them to a shocking revelation. The killer was not just a random stranger, but someone with a calculated and sinister motive. You're walking down a long and deserted corridor, the only sound being the echo of your footsteps off the walls. The air is cold and sterile, and the fluorescent lights above seem to hum with an otherworldly intensity. As you approach a door at the end of the corridor, you can't help but feel a sense of trepidation. What secrets lie behind this door? What revelations will you uncover? As you push the door open, you're met with a sight that makes your blood run cold. A room filled with evidence, each piece more disturbing than the last. And in the center of it all, a single photograph that changes everything. The killer was not just a stranger, but someone close to the victim, someone who had been hiding in plain sight all along. You're standing in a crowded courtroom, the air thick with tension and anticipation. The judge enters, and the trial begins, with the prosecution presenting their case against the accused. The evidence is damning, and the defendant's eyes seem to grow more and more desperate as the trial wears on. But as the verdict is read, you can't help but feel a sense of unease. Justice has been served, but at what cost? The victim's family and friends are left to pick up the pieces, to try and make sense of the senseless. And the community is left to wonder, will they ever be able to feel safe again? You're standing in a quiet and deserted park, the sun setting over the trees as the stars begin to twinkle in the night sky. The air is cool and crisp, and the only sound is the distant hum of crickets and the soft rustling of leaves. As you look back on the case, you can't help but feel a sense of sadness and loss. A young woman's life was cut short, and a community was left to pick up the pieces. But as you reflect on the investigation, you realize that this case is more than just a crime. It's a testament to the power of human resilience and determination. The detectives and forensic experts worked tirelessly to unravel the mystery, and in the end, justice was served. But as you walk away from the park, you can't help but wonder, what other secrets lie hidden in the shadows, waiting to be uncovered? As we conclude this journey into the darkest corners of human nature, we're left with more questions than answers. What drives a person to commit such heinous crimes? Is it a product of their environment, or inherent trait? We want to hear from you, our viewers. Like and comment below with your theories, and subscribe for more true crime content. And as you walk away from this video, remember, the truth is always hidden in the shadows, waiting to be uncovered. But will you be able to handle the darkness that lies within?